I'm Lisa, compulsive overeater. I'm trying to get out of the dark. I feel like one of those victims on those TV shows that are being interviewed, but I don't know that that's possible. If not, hopefully as the morning goes on, I will, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. It's the window in the back. Anyways, I'm very, very, very grateful to be here today. And I'd like to start this morning with, can you hear me? Can you all hear me first? Okay, I'd like to start this morning with a prayer, a little twist on the third step that I made up. God, may what I share today be a channel through which your words pass. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Amen. So a big thanks to the share finders and any who found me a couple months ago and said, do you want to share? And I was like, yeah, maybe in a few months when I get things back in order, when I start doing more service, when I get a sponsor again and all of these things. And meanwhile, I've been abstinent. So today is that day, a couple months later. And part of me wants this to be like a confession, what I'm not doing. And I was, until last minute, I was asked, if I can be recorded, and my answer was obviously not, but that's my default. My default is no for almost everything, until I reach out to my higher power, until I make that connection with my higher power and sit quietly and listen. And then I hear those words, Lisa, you've been in program, and I don't even know, maybe 10 to 15 years. And you have a lot of experience, strength, and hope to share. So go and do that. So here I am today, sharing my experience, strength, and hope. And I'm a default isolator. So I absolutely need program. I need my fellows. I don't actively connect to a lot of fellows in the program because of me, my default isolation and getting into my comfort zone too often. But the fellows that I do connect to have absolutely been a gift from my higher power. I don't know what I would have done without them. I am truly, truly, truly blessed to have these fellows in my life and to have this meeting. I think I don't even know how many years I've been coming to Early Bird. And when times have gotten more challenging, I have been able still to come on to, even if I'm behind the camera, which has been a lot this year. I've been here and I've been listening to all of you who have given me experience, strength, and hope. And I am so grateful for that, to see faces that are consistent, loving. For any newcomers on this meeting, just keep coming back. And I've shared a few times, so I'm not going to go through my whole life story, but I do want to, especially for anyone who's not heard me, just give kind of some background of my disease. So I was very, I don't know what the word is, I guess, extreme. I would eat out of the garbage. I would take eat food that's frozen. I would steal food. I would hope that people wouldn't finish their food on their plate so I can have it. Stale food, it didn't matter. If you read the first chapter in the 12 and 12, that's me. All of that, the entire description is me. And the outcome of that was both physical and emotional, because I had no spiritual connection. And the physical outcome of that was I had a consistent lockjaw, and I had to get certain procedures done. I had unnecessary gastric procedures done. I'd broken things trying to get to high shelves in other people's houses, especially I remember breaking my friend's great aunt's heirloom vase because I tried to get something from her top shelf when she wasn't home. She had stepped out for a second. And just, emotionally, I had terrible mood swings. I was in this loop of shame where I would overeat and then feel terrible about myself. And because I felt terrible about myself, maybe I'd go back into that loop of eating and feeling terrible about myself. And it was just, so much hating on myself, I was desperate to get rid of the restlessness, irritability, and discontent that I felt in between my binges. And so what did I do to try and control it? Well, self-will. So I would restrict, I would over-exercise, I've stapled my ears, I've done hypnosis, and probably the most, I would say the most frustrating was therapy, because the therapist just didn't get me. Why don't you just try and balance a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and if you exercise less and eat less, and you'll feel better. And that obviously never worked. I was sure that I was missing some hormone like dogs, right? Because they want to eat all day, and I never ever felt full. And now I do. And I found program after I would say I hit rock bottom. And that's what they say, you can't go lower than rock bottom. And so that was actually, that desperation was the best place for me to have gone to. And that's where somehow my higher power showed up and brought me into program. I remember just sitting there kind of on the floor in my in-laws, before they were in my in-laws' shower, and just crying and thinking that I wanted to destroy everything good in my life. And then luckily things turn around. Today, my abstinence is absolutely not mine. I don't even know where it comes from. I mean, it comes from working the program and my spiritual connection. I have a higher power, a loving higher power, and I'm every single morning. I have to be in gratitude. That's the first thing I do in the morning. I need to say thank you for what I have in my life. And I have a lot to be grateful for. I have 4 beautiful, healthy children. I had a baby last year, not even 1 year actually. And I had my 46th birthday 2 days ago. And so that's a real miracle. And I can't say that because I worked the program, that was a miracle that happened to me. But even with all the challenges of managing, there are a lot of hard things that have been happening this year around me. I live in Israel. My neighbors, I don't want to go into the details. I think most people know what's happening in this area, and just all around the Middle East, but it's very, very heartbreaking. And sometimes, I want to ask, is there a God? How can there be when there's so much suffering around me? And I always go back to that, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but the chapter in Bill's story where Ebby comes in and they're talking about all the calamity, and he's been, exposed to wars and things that happen. And basically it's just, there's no explanation. If I start, focusing my time on trying to understand other people's higher powers and why things happen to other people, then, I'm just digging myself a hole in the ground. And what I've learned in this program, that knowledge avails me nothing. I just need to get that spiritual connection. I have a loving higher power, and my higher power has my back. And that's all I need to know. My abstinence, I know that my abstinence, I try and, at the moment I'm sponsoring, and it's quite a new sponsor relationship. And I am so grateful for her, because I myself have been kind of lifted up and brought back into getting deep into the literature. And, I think sometimes, for newcomers, you think like, okay, we'll find, we're so indebted to our sponsors, but actually, it's a two-way relationship, and service is really key in this program. And I'm really grateful for that. So I need to also remind myself sometimes, I've been thinking a lot this year. Things have been clearly very, very, very busy. And I've been thinking, how do I find time? How do I find time to come to this meeting? How do I find time to do service? How do I find time to sponsor? How do I find time to find a sponsor? And I have to keep reminding myself, and I have these lovely fellows that reach out to me, and they remind me that God will give me my time back. And I don't, thanks so much. And I actually don't believe it until I actually do it. Like, I'll have my time back this morning and I'll have my time back. What I put in, I get out tenfold. And what I don't put in, I won't, what is it? What I sow, I reap, but I reap, I sow. I don't know. But basically, that's so true for me in program. I'm grateful for the gifts that I have, and I don't ever want to go back to where I was in the food. And the promises of this program, the promises, I think they're the ones we read on page 84 in the big book, have come true for me. Everything, it's unimaginable that I am able to have serenity in between my meals, that I don't think 24 hours about my next meal, that I can enjoy people, that I can go to social events, even though I hate, not that I hate going, but my brain tells me, you better stay home and isolate. And, I'm grateful to have those moments with my higher power, those pauses where I take a deep breath and hear my higher power, or maybe in two-way prayer, my higher power saying, you need to participate in life, Lisa. You need to participate in life. You better go. And I listen. I used to not listen. I mean, I'm not sure even if I heard it. I remember in my first home meeting, they used to talk about this kind of, I don't know if it was like a tube or a vessel between myself and my higher power. And it gets clogged when I'm in the food. And so I can't hear my higher power. And I'm just listening to myself and acting on self-will. And when I'm clean, so is that pipe or vessel. And I can hear, and I still need to make the choice to listen or not to listen. But if I'm already going to take that first step and I'm going to ask, my higher power, what should I do next? I'm going to have to listen to that. And I would also, the literature in the program, I've learned a lot from the big book. I had a sponsor who took me through it very thoroughly, and it wasn't how I initially got abstinent. And my first meetings, we focused more on the 12 and 12. So I just want to put that out there. There's so many different ways to do the program. I know there's so many names. I had a sponsor through this meeting that did it PPG something, and basically just do it, take the actions, and you will reap the benefits. This program, OA is a gift. The results come, maybe not in our time, but when the higher power believes that we're ready, but keep coming back. And really it works if we work it. I remember I had a group of girls that came up to me in my first couple meetings, and they said to me, just keep coming back, this program works. And
1 minute left.
Thank you. I said, I'm one of those people where this program isn't going to work. And that's what I tell my sponsees as well. This program is going to work for you, and it will. Just keep coming back. Thank you so much for giving me this gift to share with you guys today. I'm very grateful for that.